We're back.
We're back. Welcome back to the trash bin, fuckers.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
everybody needs to get in the trash bin with us.
Yeah, get in the trash bin with us.
Probably a dumpster though, because I mean, there's quite a few of us.
My, like one of those big moving dumpsters
Yes.
where like you literally throw everything in your house in there that you don't want.
That would.
Except for people. I don't think it takes people, but
No, probably not cats.
since we're all trash pandas, we can jump in.
We can.
So you want to talk about Brandon?
I will. Yeah, we can talk about Brandon.
So
we can,
we're still obviously fucked up over Brandon.
I think I'm gonna be fucked up about Brandon for a really long time.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And I know we're gonna go back and visit it again.
Of course.
But I want Kissy to tell you a little bit about a TikTok she came across, and it just goes to show that you can't listen and believe everything you hear.
No, and I feel like you and I pride ourselves on making sure we are fact checking. We're doing what we need to do. So I come along this TikTok, and the guy had done a Brandon Swanson case. And two of the things he mentioned, the first one, he mentioned how Brandon, quote unquote, yelled, oh shit, because he was falling or tripping or whatever was happening.
And maybe he was tripping.
But he did not yell it.
No, the dad made it clear that
just,
he said, oh shit.
Oh shit.
But it wasn't like a freaked out,
No.
oh shit.
And then the second thing this dude said was that the Yellow Medicine River is comparable to the Mississippi. Fuck no.
What? Not even close.
No. So I commented, and I normally don't comment it, but my head commented. But I'm finding I have less of a filter right now these days.
Oh, I wonder why.
I said to the guy, I'm like, first of all, I'm like, Brandon did not yell or over exaggerate the oh shit. And I said, second of all, the Yellow Medicine is not as big as the Mississippi River. My sister and I, who do this podcast, have been to Marshall. She walked the Yellow Medicine River. It is not like the Mississippi.
No.
So I said, I would really appreciate it if you would get your facts straight. I had said, not only so you're putting the right facts out there for Brandon, but, you know, her and I from Minnesota, we went there, we saw it.
Yeah.
So just stop.
Just if you're going to be doing a podcast, at least do your best to put the right information out there. Yes. If you don't know, you don't know.
And but we say that, like, if we don't know, we don't know.
And there's a lot that we don't know. No matter how much research you do, you can't get all the facts straight. Nope, so just do your own research if something doesn't sound right. Which is really how we got to doing this, because we watch a lot of documentaries, and every time I'm watching a documentary, I have to stop and look things up.
I know.
Because I know that they don't give you all the information. No. That's why you need to take it from many sources. I'm like, I know it's there. Why don't you go ahead and do that?
Do it. Okay.
Yeah, dishonorable mention of the week.
I got put in charge of well, I kind of told her that I was doing it.
She took it.
I took it. I stole it. I stole it. Nope. Okay. So I'm going to set this up for you. We're heading back to Louisiana.
Oh, boy.
But this time, we're in Baton Rouge. And we are with 28-year-old Kendall Reeves, who was discovered at 3:08 a.m., crouched over a single biscuit from Popeyes, allegedly warning it to give back what it had stolen.
She was asking the biscuit?
Yes. She was talking to the... Okay.
Oh.
So Reeves had circled the biscuit with 11 votive candles purchased from a Walgreens at 2:30 a.m. She drew a chalk ring circle on the wet pavement and set the biscuit on the paper to contain it.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. She had ordered a 5-piece chicken tender combo and declared that one biscuit that came with it was no longer holy.
Was it was holy to start with?
I mean, apparently she was reading scriptures to it from a pocket Bible she had pulled from a little free library box thing, like 2 blocks away. Told the drive-through through the mic that the biscuit had whispered to her during her meal and felt warm in the wrong way. A line of 8 cars had backed up while she anointed the biscuit with what she called. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Is everybody ready? We ready? Here we go. Consecrated Baja Blast.
Oh my
Here we
god.
go. Detective Lionel Boudreau said Reeves told officer the biscuit was hosting something and that you don't get the golden brown without a price. That's a possessed crumb structure. She asked the worker to read the closing prayer, handed him a printout with directions. He told her he had a fryer that needed tending because he did not feel comfortable doing it. At that point, the biscuit declined to comment, citing spiritual fatigue.
Oh.
Reeves is facing charges of trespassing, disorderly conduct, blocking a drive-through lane for 41 minutes.
41.
Yeah. She is also banned from every Popeyes in the East Baton Rouge parish. So those must be some motherfucking good biscuits from Popeyes.
Well, if they're normally holy
I mean,
in a spiritual way, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of holes in the biscuit. What?
I just sat there and looked at the computer going, what?
What?
Do all of our dishonorable mentions need to come from Louisiana?
Oh, I feel like there will be plenty from other places.
Oh, I think so too.
Oh, plenty. I feel like there should be a lot from Vegas too. That would be
I
fun.
think that would be good.
That would be great.
I concur. So, Kendall Reeves, I hope they're, if you got jail time, they're giving you some good biscuits in jail.
Some good holy biscuits.
Yep.
But I mean, she has plenty of time to try to summon the demon out, I guess. If she's
How
in jail.
does your brain go there? I mean, no, listen, to be factual, you and I have pretty twisted brains, but that's even twisted for us.
I mean, I might do something like that, but it would quickly be found out that I'm joking.
Correct.
Yes. It wouldn't take a 41-minute blockage.
Can you imagine what those people in the drive-thru are thinking as she's trying to anoint this Popeyes biscuit?
I mean, honestly, if I was there, I'd probably go join her just to see
what was going on.
Just I'd be like, "Can I help?
Yeah.
I'm pretty unholy myself. Can you heal me?"
The power of the biscuit compels you.
Oh my gosh!
The power of the biscuit compels you.
If she saw your legs right now and them peeling, she'd definitely have to use that Baja Blast on you.
Listen, I got a little sunburned a while ago. My legs are peeling. I look like a reptile right now.
Should I get you some consecrated Baja? I think they have some at Quick Trip next door.
Or I could just go to Taco Bell and get a frozen consecrated Baja Blast.
That would probably feel good on your legs.
It probably would.
Oh my gosh. I feel like because it's chicken related,
it's perfect.
It kind of belongs on the nugget board.
Oh, I would agree.
We might have to update the conspiracy board to add this biscuit.
I think that would be a valid idea.
Yeah.
Everything is connected according to one Dylan William Deneen.
This is true.
Mm-hmm.
And also according to the nugget board.
Which the nugget board is always right.
Yes.
Never wrong. Are you going to tell me about your mini creeper?
I am.
Okay, I'm excited. Go.
Okay. So today's mini creeper comes from West Virginia in 1897.
Oh.
So imagine a murder case so cold.
Okay.
And the evidence was so non-existent that the prosecution's star witness is literally the ghost of the victim testifying from beyond the grave.
Well, so the ghost is testifying?
In a sense, yes. So in the 1890s,
Yeah.
the Ouija board had kind of just started. So they basically considered ghosts and superstition stuff to be fact.
Okay.
Okay. So, Greenbrier County, West Virginia, 1897. Uh, the story is it begins with this lady named Zona. Well, Elva, but they called her Zona. Elva Zona Hester.
Okay.
Hester.
You witch.
It, not that I know of.
Okay. Just curious.
So most people just called her Zona.
Okay.
She was known as super friendly. She was really well liked. She was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And in 1896, she met a blacksmith named Erasmus Stribling Trout Shoe.
And that is my next cat's name.
Yes. Although you might not want to name him after him.
Oh.
So yeah, that was his.
It's going to be Hannah's cat. So does Hannah not want to name it after him?
Well, she's just as crazy as you, so we might
All
go
right,
with
we'll
it.
go with it.
We can just call him Trout.
Oh, that's so cute.
That was his actual name, though.
Okay.
Erasmus Stribling Trout Shoe.
That is quite a name.
I mean, honestly, he sounds like a Civil War villain.
Oh, definitely.
So the story is the two of them fell in love and married, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, on January 23rd, 1897, a young boy who worked for Zona's family.
Okay.
He was sent to the shoe home to run an errand, but when he entered the house, he found Zona lying at the bottom of the stairs dead.
Aww.
So, not even a year later. Well, the boy ran for help and summoned the doctor. All of the neighbors gathered around, and almost immediately, strange things started happening. Well, Dr. George Knapp was trying to examine her. The husband's acting super odd.
Okay.
He insists on dressing her himself. He's constantly around her, like not letting the doctor do a full examination.
Mm-hmm.
He selected a dress with a high collar and then also carefully wrapped her neck with a scarf. So the doctor admitted later that he never really got to do a full examination on her because
Right.
the husband was in the way the whole time. Well, he would even like cradle her head and neck and refuse to let anybody like near her.
Yowza.
Yeah, super weird. So the cause of death officially was pretty vague,
Okay.
but different accounts described it as childbirth complications and the everlasting faint. Yeah, or natural causes.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody really had a clear idea of it because he didn't get to fully examine her. But her mother was obviously devastated.
Examinate a word.
Examinate? Yeah,
Examinate.
you're right. I did examine. I love it when you catch me.
I don't normally get to correct grammar. It's usually me being corrected. So when I heard that, I'm like, I'm just going to see what happens.
Like all the stuff that you had me print out. And I'm like going through and fixing all the underlying stuff
like
before I print it.
Give a shit. I was just like, get it done.
And it shouldn't have mattered to me either. It didn't really, but
it's just our brains.
It was the underlines that were bugging me.
Yeah, my bad.
So she just couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, something happened that she just doesn't understand. So then things started to get really strange for her.
stranger than they already were.
I know. Zona started to appear to her mother in her sleep. Not once, not twice, 4 nights in a row.
Now, are we talking full apparition?
Full apparition. So it's late at night, you're grieving the loss of your daughter, and suddenly she appears beside your bed.
I would shit myself.
4 nights in a row this happened to
I would
her.
shit myself 4 nights in a row.
Well, according to Mary Jane, the mother, Zona told her exactly what happened to her.
How old was Zona at the time? Do we know?
Um,
Did it say?
Nothing that I read said how old she was, but
she'd be in her 20s or something.
in the 1800s, she might have been even younger.
Yeah. Okay.
To be married.
Oof.
Yeah. So she claimed that her husband had become enraged during a fight and that he twisted her neck until it broke.
Oh.
And some versions of the story actually claim that the apparition fully turned her head around 360 degrees to show the mother what happened.
Whoa!
So you're grieving the loss of your daughter. You're already seeing her ghost in front of you 4 nights in a row, and she's twisting her head all the way around. Talk about creepy. Yeah. So she became so convinced, obviously, that her daughter was murdered that she went to the prosecutor and described her story. And because of this, the prosecutor had the body exhumed. And sure enough, they found evidence of her neck being broken. They actually found crushed windpipe tissue, damaged neck vertebrae, and evidence of strangulation. So the findings were consistent with a super violent assault, not natural causes, which they would have found had somebody done something with the husband.
Right.
Well, not only that, when they start digging into the husband's past, they find previous marriages that had ended badly. One wife had accused him of cruelty. Another had died under suspicious circumstances.
Wow.
And all the neighbors said that he was controlling and quick-tempered. And apparently he told people that he intended to have at least 7 wives in his lifetime. Now, when you're married and your wife is still alive and you are known to have a quick temper, I feel like you're telling everybody something about yourself.
Yeah, I think you are too.
So, despite what everybody thinks, I mean, they put him on trial, and of course, the ghost didn't take the stand. But the defense thought it would be smart of them to put the mother on the stand. So, of course, the mother starts telling her story about the ghost, and the defense thinks the jury's gonna think that she's fucking crazy. Yeah. But like I said, 1890s, Ouija board just coming out, people really believed in this stuff. And she was so sympathetic and sincere that they believed everything she said. So the thing is, though, the evidence matched.
Right.
So nobody really knows if she actually saw this ghost or if she just believed so much that he was involved with the murder. But for her to say that the ghost twisted its head all the way around and then to find
bullshit right there.
Yeah. But then for them to find evidence that that's exactly what happened.
That's crazy.
So
she had to be older because it didn't mention that her hyoid was broken.
That's true.
Which is usually when you're younger, you can't break the hyoid because it's too valuable. Is it valuable? Is that a word? Flexible.
We'll just go with that.
Okay.
Malleable.
Valuable. There it is. See, I knew it was something with the bull at the end. I knew it.
there's always a bull involved when it comes to you. So, I mean, the broken neck,
Yeah.
the strangulation, all of that.
Wow.
So he was convicted, obviously, and he was sentenced to life. He died behind bars in 1900. So it was only like 3 years later he
He
died.
wasn't in prison that long.
No. So the legend of the Greenbrier Ghost was born from that. A lot of people just believe that her story pressured the authorities to actually do something about what was likely a murder, especially since they never got to do a full autopsy the first time around.
Right. And, I think myself being a mother, you want people to believe you no matter what you say. Like, if I say to if my kid gets killed and I'm like, oh, Gabriel's come back to me at least 6 times and has stood with me, somebody out there is going to believe me.
I'd believe you.
Oh, I know you would believe me because he'd be haunting your ass too.
Probably.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
I mean, did a ghost solve a murder? Did she?
I like the fact that we can say maybe a ghost solved a murder.
A murder. So either way, justice was served.
That's crazy.
It's really sad though that it had to come to that.
Yeah.
But can you imagine that happening today?
Oh, she'd be locked up in a room with 15 pads and 7 straitjackets on.
Yeah, at least.
And then get electric shock therapy.
At least.
Yeah, it was
So that was my mini creeper.
That was good.
Do you want to
I'll do a missing person.
Okay.
So this week for my missing person spotlight, we're going to be talking about Brittany Beers. Brittany has been missing since 1997.
Oh.
She was 6 years old when she went missing from her apartment complex in Sturgis, Michigan. She was last seen sitting on a bench at 8:45 p.m. Witnesses state she was talking to a man with a red or brown car. The case is open as of 2012. In 2015, a man named Daniel Furlong admitted to sexually assaulting, strangling, and dumping the body of a Jody Parrott. He was given a polygraph in 2016, but he was not charged with Brittany's case, and Brittany's case still remains unsolved.
Oh.
So, I mean, she's not that old.
No.
She was 6 in 97. I'm not doing girl math today because my brain cannot handle it. So, she's what, like
25?
Yeah, so she's not that old.
Oh.
Yeah, it's these younger kids kidnappings really just fuck with my head.
Yeah. I was just watching a documentary yesterday about a guy, a kid who was kidnapped. I don't remember how old he was, but he actually came home 2 years later.
Oh, you were telling me.
And
don't give all of that away. I thought we were gonna do a story.
We could, but I don't know.
Shut your goddamn mouth.
Oh, okay. I guess we're doing a story on this one.
That's what you said yesterday.
Yeah, but it was really short.
I don't care what you do.
Okay, I guess we're using it anyways. Not going to tell you anymore.
Yeah,
but I am going to tell you Kissy's vocab lesson today. Yay! Today's vocab word actually comes from Hannah, which is a byproduct of Kissy, so it fits. And today's word is confuzzled. A state of being simultaneously confused, bewildered, and mildly overwhelmed. I feel like you are constantly confuzzled.
Constantly.
When a situation makes so little sense that your brain temporarily gives up and starts running in circles.
Yep.
Or the emotional condition experienced after reviewing contradictory evidence, listening to conspiracy theories, or trying to follow Kissy's train of thought.
That's a crazy train. Some people cannot.
I am often confuzzled by you, and I usually just stare at you or tell you to shut the fuck up.
There's that.
So, an example would be after Kissy has researched this case, I'd say for 6 hours or so, but she's probably researched this case for about 50 hours or more,
Oh, definitely.
and she's completely confuzzled over it.
Yes.
So I picked this topic and gave it to her,
I think you knew I was gonna get.
knowing
Yeah.
she was going to become obsessed with it, and this case has become her baby, literally. So I'm going to let her take this away, and I'm just going to interject here and there while we talk about it.
Interrupt anytime you want.
Oh, I will.
So, friends, I kind of want to take you on a journey today with this family, and their name is the Sodders.
Are we going to go all the way to Italy?
Well, we might not be able to go all the way really to Italy, but we can hypothetically go to Italy.
Okay, I'm there.
Okay, good. They lived in Fayetteville, West Virginia.
Oh, we're still in West Virginia.
I know, right? The year is 1945.
Almost 50 years after my creeper.
Yeah, it's. I think there was a 60th anniversary not too long ago. That one of the children's daughters, just tries to keep the case alive. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Okay.
So I'm going to set this up. So we've got the Sodder family. We've got Father George, Mom Jenny, and they had 10 children. And I'm not going to talk about all 10 children right now because you're going to start hearing their names as I continue talking. And you'll get to know them a little bit better. Just note that one of their sons, Joe, was away at World War II. So we won't hear much about him.
Okay.
The thing that really caught is that on Christmas morning of December 25th, 1945, their house went up in flames.
Oh.
Yeah. George and Jenny and 5 of their children escaped. And now you're saying, where are the other 5? It was 5.
How did 5 children escape if the one was overseas?
Because they did the.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways.
So there were 5 children.
I should have said 4, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but you're wondering where the bodies of the other 5 children are because they did not escape. Nobody knows where those children are at.
So they didn't find anything?
Nothing.
So 5 children just disappeared.
Just disappeared. There was no flesh. There were no bones. There was no skeletal remains. There was no evidence of them leaving the house. Now, we've got theories, we've got eyewitness accounts, but the whole thing is pretty shoddy, if you ask me. So.
Well, based on what you're going to tell us about the fire department.
So let's do a little bit of a background here because in October, a traveling sales insurance salesman came to the home. You're going to hear me talk about how George was very outspoken about the fascist Italian government and Mussolini and just hatefulness towards Mussolini.
Understandable.
Well, yeah. George declines the policy from the insurance man, and the salesman became extremely aggressive. He then at that time warns George that his house will go up in smoke and his children will be destroyed.
You're an insurance salesman.
Right.
What is there anything that says like that the insurance salesman was Italian and that George said something to him?
Nope.
No. So
nope.
He was just very mad.
But the salesman did know about George's opinion, so it was clear that he was local. So in late autumn, a local contractor reviewed the home for wiring for a new stove. And he explicitly assured the family and George specifically that the wiring was perfectly safe. It was up to code and structurally sound.
Okay.
In early of December, George's older sons noticed a strange man parked along US Highway 19. The individual was noted to be watching the younger children walk home from school and pointing at them.
Creepy.
So it's almost like he was definitely up to something.
Yeah.
So Christmas Eve morning, the Sodders have a wonderful Christmas together. Their eldest daughter, Marion, had gotten a job in town at a dime store and had bought her three younger sisters new toys to play with.
Aw.
So it was this huge thing. And the girls had asked Jenny if they could stay up and play. And she said as long as they got all their chores done, they could definitely stay up and play. Um, and then the older sons, John and George Jr., they headed to bed after working with some things with their father. At midnight, George and the older boys are asleep while Jenny is awoken from a phone call. So she bolts downstairs. She picks up the phone. A strange woman's voice asks for Jenny.
Okay.
Jenny doesn't recognize the name. She hears loud laughter, clinking glasses, and chaotic, what she considered chaotic socializing. So it's almost like somebody was having a party.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that was today, I'd say it was a butt dial.
I know. When Jenny tells the woman, the caller, that she had the wrong number, she said that the woman let out a very bizarre, sharp laugh, and then hung up.
That's fucking eerie.
Before returning to bed, Jenny noticed that the downstairs lights were still on, and the heavy window curtains were still open, which were tasks that the kids were supposed to do before they went to bed.
Right.
She sees Marion asleep on the couch, so she turns the lights off, locks the doors, and returns up to bed and goes to sleep.
Okay.
At 1 a.m., Jenny is again awoken by a sudden loud thud on the roof, followed by an immediate rolling sound. She waits for a few seconds, hears nothing further, so she goes back to sleep. It was like a bird or a squirrel jumped on the roof and then like tumbled off.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, or like somebody threw a ball.
Yeah, or like you get a baseball stuck up on the top of a house and it rolls right off.
Right.
So that's what that sounded like.
And I assume there was a little bit of snow on the roof.
There was,
which
yeah.
would
I mean,
have...
it's West Virginia in December.
Yeah.
So yes, there was definitely snow. At 1:30, which is just a half hour later,
Yep.
Jenny wakes up for the third time, and this time she smells heavy smoke.
Oh.
Yeah. So she jumps out of bed, discovers a roaring fire that had originated in George's first floor office. And it seemed like it was specifically around the fuse and phone box.
Okay.
Which seems weird because that had all just been rewired.
Right.
So there shouldn't be an issue there at all.
And they confirmed that it was good.
Yes. At 1:35, Jenny and George scream for their children. George, Jenny, Marion, and Sylvia, the toddler, John, and George Jr. successfully, I like saying sex,
successfully
escape into the yard. The staircase leading to the upper bedrooms where Maurice, Martha, Louis, and Betty were sleeping is completely blocked by flames. You cannot get up there at all. John runs to a neighbor house to call the fire department. The neighbors find their phone lines have been completely dead.
Okay.
Another neighbor attempts to call from a nearby store, but the operator fails to connect the call. Because at that time, when you call somebody, you don't just call that person.
Right, you call the switchboard.
And there's this whole phone tree that's got to be navigated before it can get to you.
Which is kind of the way that we talked about with Brandon.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. So at 1:40, it's freezing. George attempts to execute a rescue, basically, but faces immediate barriers.
Okay.
For one thing, there's a missing ladder. George runs to the side of the house to retrieve his tall extension ladder to reach the attic windows to save the other children. The ladder is completely missing from its designated spot.
What?
It's discovered hours later, hidden in an embankment 75 feet away.
How?
Yeah, that's what I said. How?
Because he always kept it in the same spot.
Always in the same spot.
So he would have known where it was before he went to bed.
Yes, he would
have.
Okay. The frozen coal trucks. Now, in my history here, George, hold please.
No, please.
George had a successful trucking business.
Okay.
So he had 2 trucks on the property. Um, he attempted to start both the coal trucks. Neither of them would start, even though the day before they were working just fine. They were using them for work. They were hauling stuff, but they could not get them to turn on for nothing.
So missing ladder,
Yep.
and both his trucks won't start.
Yep.
So if you didn't think the ladder was sabotage,
Then we come to the water supply. Family attempted to throw buckets of water onto the flames, but the outdoor water barrels were frozen, which is unusual because most of the time back then, that's where you kept your water.
right?
Was you got it right from the well and you put it in barrels and you kept it.
Yeah.
So somebody had to have moved those barrels from where they were in a warm area so that they would freeze.
Wow.
Yeah. Around 2:15, their house was a 2-story timber house, so it was completely made of wood. It collapsed within itself. The entire structure burned to the ground in an intensely violent 45-minute fire.
So it only took 45
Mhm.
minutes,
Yep.
basically, for the
Yep.
house to be gone.
Yes. Neighbors also reported seeing a man stealing a block and tackle from the Sodder property during the fire. Who the hell runs onto a property that's on fire to steal block and
Tackle.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody was desperate for that block and tackle.
So the fire started burning at I gotta look here. At 1:30.
Or around there.
Around there. It probably started a little bit before.
Probably, yeah,
the
in
kicker.
between there.
The fire department did not show up until 8 a.m. the next morning.
After all those attempts to call, how did they not get there until then?
Well, they knew about the fire, but they were claiming that the station was short staffed due to the holiday, and the war. And there was a delay in getting somebody there that knew how to drive a fire truck.
Was the fire chief not on duty?
No, the fire chief, who you're going to hear me talk about, F.J. Morris, was on duty. This fire chief did not know how to drive a fire truck.
How is he the chief?
That was like, how does that even work? You're the fire chief of this. I mean, Fayetteville isn't a small town, but how do you not know how to drive a fucking fire truck?
I feel like that's kind of the main part of your job.
Oh, I would think so. I would think so. So, after the fire department deems that it was of electrical origin. Even though George had just had all the electricity upgraded and it was considered to be perfectly safe. They convened a coroner's jury of, I'm assuming what's like peers.
Yeah.
Almost like a regular jury, to decide what the cause of the fire was, and they deemed it to be electrical.
Did they even do any research into this?
No, they didn't. They did a 2-hour search of the collapsed house.
Okay, but the people that are on this jury, do they actually have any experience
No,
in investigating?
They're just local people.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. So, yeah. So George and Jenny, up until the day they died, did not believe that their other children perished in this fire.
Well, they didn't find anything.
Nothing. So, just some more background here. George was born in Italy in 1895. He then immigrated to the U.S. 13 years later with an older brother. It's stated that George rarely talked about why he left Italy.
Okay.
So there's nothing. Why?
But he clearly disliked Mussolini.
Oh, clearly. And he was very outspoken about it. Like, he did not care who he said it to or what he said. He just said it.
So it's likely he just left to get away from that regime.
Yeah. He started his own trucking company, first hauling dirt to construction sites and later hauling coal in the area. Jenny was a storekeeper's daughter in Smithers, which is also in West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
She also immigrated from Italy in her childhood.
Interesting.
They were married in 1922. Um, it should also be known that Fayetteville has a very large Italian population. Huge. Like, huge.
I wonder why they chose that.
Well, I mean, if George was trying to get away from what he thought Italy was, why would you settle in a town that's highly Italian?
Right. Where everybody's going to hear you talk about your dislike.
Correct.
And
Correct.
no, and just feel like it's also close to the coast,
It is.
which seems weird. Like I would think that you would. Sorry about that. I would
Wow.
think that you would want to go further
I would think so too.
inland.
Yeah. George and Jenny were married in 1922. They had their first of their 10 children in 1923. George's businesses flourished, and they actually became one of the most respected middle class families in Fayetteville. So not rich, but they were doing okay for themselves.
Mhm.
If that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
Um.
Well enough they could afford 10 children.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. That's a lot of kids. Woo! I can't do 10 kids. That's too much.
Well, not too many people
Ooh.
today could afford that.
No. The last Sodder child was born in 1942, who would be Sylvia, and then their second oldest son, Joe, left for World War II.
So their youngest was like 3?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Jenny saved her. Her crib was by the bed. She carried Sylvia out to safety.
Okay.
So there's other things that happen that just don't make sense. Like George's older sons noticed a strange car parked along the main highway, watching the younger Sodder kids come home from school.
Mm-hmm.
They were pointing at them. They were clearly talking about them.
But they didn't know who this was that was watching them?
No, they had no idea who he was. Nope. Mm-mm. No idea. None whatsoever. John, their one son, first told police that after the fire he went upstairs to alert his siblings. But he later changed his story and said that he had only yelled up there.
Oh.
Which is kind of icky.
So he claimed to go inform the children, the 5 that are missing.
Mm-hmm.
So initially it sounded like he had seen them.
Yes. But then as we've learned, you couldn't go up the stairs because they were engulfed in flames.
Right.
So why would he tell police that he saw them and then not? It doesn't quite make sense. Marion, one of their daughters, tried to call the fire department from a neighbor. A driver by eventually saw the fire and called from a nearby tavern. His call was unsuccessful. That is a hard word for me to say.
You just like the word sex.
That's the whole other podcast. Unsuccessful. So George attempted to break into a window to get the kids out, which he cut his arm. And then this is where the ladder comes in. His sons were trying to help him find this ladder, and they could not find it. And like I said, the cars would not start. And that they had no choice but to stand there and watch their house burn to the ground because no fire department was coming.
Right.
Nobody was showing up to help. And they at that point just assumed that the other children had perished in the fire. Can you imagine standing there watching your house burn down, thinking that you have just lost 5 of your children?
And there's nothing you can do.
Nope. And you later find out that the fire department, who claimed they were short-handed due to the war, didn't take any urgency to go deal with the fire. There was no hoses turned on it. They just let it burn. You know?
So depressing.
And of course, the fire chief said he didn't know how to drive a fire truck. So he had to wait until somebody could drive for him. Firefighters, one of whom was Jenny's brother, did little except look through the ashes of the basement. So all I'm picturing is them like taking a stick and being like, "Here, I'm going to move these ashes a little bit to see if there's anything there." And
Yep,
that's
and
it. That is not a fire/arson investigation.
how did they explain not finding any bones?
They had no explanation at all. There was never an explanation given.
Did they ever find anything of those children in the fire other than, I suppose, clothes and stuff? But
They
that would
didn't
be
find
all.
nothing.
That would
There
be
was
all burnt
nothing.
to
Morris
crisp.
told the Sodders that they found no bones, and you would expect to find if the other kids were in the house as it burned. According to another account, says they did find a few phone fragments, and internal organs, but they chose not to tell the family.
Okay.
Yep.
So, didn't they declare the children dead?
They did. Yes.
So, how did they declare the children dead if they never found any evidence?
I'm assuming it's one of those cases like with a missing person case where they've been missing. They weren't even missing. I think it was 5 years later that they declared them dead.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Modern day fire professionals have been interviewed and in disgust have said that the search of the fire was cursory. They basically just went through the motions. There was nothing extra done. And that Morris just told the Sodders that your 5 kids died in the fire and that's the way it's going to be. The fire burning hot enough to burn their bodies completely.
So, how does he explain the supposed heart that you're going to tell us about now?
I love this part.
Love hate.
Yeah. So Chief Morris told George to leave the site undisturbed until the state fire marshal conducted their investigation. After 4 days, George and his wife couldn't stand the site anymore, so he bulldozed 5 feet of dirt over the site with the intention of making it into a memorial garden for his children. The local coroner convened an inquest the next day, which came back that the fire was an accident, which I think is bullshit.
Absolutely.
Due to faulty wiring.
Which is
Yep.
not.
It was also thought that it might have been retribution for George's comments on Mussolini.
Which is more likely.
Which makes sense, yeah. It wasn't even that long, sorry. Death certificates were issued for the 5 children on December 30th.
That's like 5 days.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the local paper contradicted itself, stating that all the bodies had been found. But in the same story, it stated only one body was recovered.
But no bodies were recovered.
No bodies were recovered.
The only bodies recovered were the people that got out.
Mm-hmm. George and Jenny were too grief-stricken to attend the funerals on January 2nd, 1946. The surviving children did attend. The family had a lot of questions about the final findings.
Yeah.
As they started to rebuild their life, the family started questioning the official findings of the fire. I think their top 3 questions that I took away from it were, if the fire was caused by electrical problems, why were the Christmas lights still on during the early moments of the fire?
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Why was the missing ladder found at the bottom of an embankment 75 feet away? And why did a telephone repairman tell the Sodders the phone line had not been burned through, but was cut by someone who had been willing to climb 14 feet up a pole and reach 2 feet away to cut the wires?
So did they find out who cut it?
No. They caught the guy who took the block and tackle. They questioned him about it. He admitted to doing it, but there's no paperwork. There is no evidence that that man ever existed or that they ever got that evidence.
So if it was him, he probably cut the phone line thinking he was cutting the power.
Mm-hmm. Probably. That would be my guess. Yep.
Just so nobody could see him doing what he was doing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow.
And Jenny also stated in 1968, years later, that if he had cut those power lines, her and her children would have never gotten out of that house.
Because they wouldn't have seen.
They would, yeah, exactly. Yep.
So it definitely wasn't faulty wiring
No.
because the power was
No.
working fine.
No. Jenny, I think out of all of them, had the most questions. She had a lot of trouble believing Morris's belief that all the traces of her children's body had been buried or had burned completely. Because many of the household appliances had been found recognizable in the ash,
Yeah.
along with fragments from the tin roof.
So you can recognize that.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot
Yep.
more to burn bone.
Yes. And Jenny, being the little sleuth that she was, I like this lady a lot. She actually burned small piles of animal bone to see how they burned, to see if they would be completely consumed, and they were not. It was also around this time that the fire chief admitted to finding a human heart and burying it in a metal box.
What?
Yeah. It gets even weirder. Upon George and Jenny finding this out, they wanted that heart tested for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And Morris, being, I'm pretty sure, the douchebag that he was, decided it was finally time to claim that it wasn't a human heart, it was a beef liver.
Which wouldn't even look even remotely similar.
Mm-mm. And Jenny could not figure out why he would do that. It makes no sense at all.
And why would you bury it in a metal box?
I have no
Like
idea.
That's not proving that the children are dead.
No, I know.
Because their heart would not be in a box.
Yep. Yep.
Oh.
So as time went on, George followed pretty much any lead he got.
Yeah.
He went everywhere in the country. In 2013, one of George's son-in-laws came to believe that George and his sons had accidentally flooded the engines of the trucks, which is possible.
You mean in their
yes,
anxiety trying to get them?
Yeah, and we've all done that. You get so frustrated when it comes to something like that.
Yeah.
Some thought that the wrong number was connected to the fire, but investigators later located the woman, and she confirmed it was just a wrong call, a wrong number.
Confirmed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean she was telling the truth.
I know. I feel like I missed. No, I didn't. Okay. In the spring, as they promised, the Sodders planted flowers in memorial of their quote-unquote dead children. Jenny spent the rest of her life tending to that garden. Further developments in 1946 reinforced the family's belief that the children they were memorializing might be alive. Evidence emerged soon that the cause of the fire was not electrical, but arson. So, I mean, at least they had that.
So, did they figure out what the thud on the roof was?
Yes. So a bus driver driving through Fayetteville on Christmas Eve saw several people throwing quote-unquote balls of fire at the house.
Oh.
Okay. A few months later, after the snow had melted, because it was December.
Right.
Jenny found small, hard rubber-like ball objects in a bush nearby. To which George looked at it, being who he was, and he called it a pineapple bomb. Come to learn, which is the grenade-like bomb. Which is used in combat.
Okay, that's during wartime.
It is.
And a sung away at war.
Mm-hmm.
But I would think that they could confirm where the son was if he was.
I'm sure they did.
Okay.
Yeah. The family also claimed, contrary to the fire chief's findings, that the fire started on the roof. Although there was no way they could prove it. The house was gone.
Right.
And there's been sightings of the children. One woman was watching the fire from the road. She claims to have seen the children peering out of a passing car while the house was burning. Another woman at a rest stop claimed to have waited on them the next morning and noted the presence of a Florida license plate at a rest stop.
Okay.
But as soon as she started to try to talk to them, the people that were with them told them to shut up and leave her alone, leave them alone.
Did the people that told her to shut up happen to be Italian?
They just happened to be of Italian descent. Yes.
Interesting.
The Sodders hired a private investigator named C.C. Tinsley from the nearby town of Gawley Bridge. He informed the Sodders that the man who threatened George over his anti-Mussolini sentiments was also part of a group that ruled the fire and accident. So he was on this coroner's jury, coroner's jury. Mm-hmm.
Didn't you say that somebody that worked for the family or something else too was on the
Yes.
jury?
His name was Nick, and he was an employee of George's. And through some weird back insurance thing, he was somehow a co-signer on life insurance for George. And a day before the fire, he upped this sounds so silly and so small, but at the time it was a huge amount of money. He upped the insurance to $250.
Oh.
And then he was on the coroner's jury that cited that it wasn't arson, that it was an accident. So
because it has to be an accident for the money to be distributed. But but it wouldn't have been distributed because George was alive.
Correct.
He screwed himself if he did do it. But I'm also thinking with the one son being over in Europe at war, somebody else Italian could have been on there.
Oh,
and if they were looking for George, that would have been a way that they could have found out exactly where they were.
Yep, it's very easily. And Morris later, after telling them about the heart, he stated that the only reason he did it was because he needed them to be satisfied that their children were dead.
Why would he need that?
Yeah, and that's how he worded it. I need you to be satisfied that your children are dead.
The only reason for him to need that is because he knows what really happened, or having to do with his incompetence, period.
Yep. So in 1945, at one point, George saw a magazine picture of a group of young ballet dancers in New York. He drove to New York, as one of the dancers looked like his daughter Betty. But after several attempts to talk to her, he was refused. Nobody would let him talk to her. Nobody would let him see her. He was basically told, go away.
So he never even saw her in person.
Nope. In August of 49, George was able to persuade Oscar Hunter, a Washington, D.C. pathologist, to supervise a new search through the dirt at the house site. After a thorough search, artifacts including a dictionary and some coins, they were found, but nothing else was ever found to determine anything else. There was a small piece of bone fragment that was determined to be human vertebrae. The fragrance,
it was stinky.
Were actually sent to the Smithsonian. My goodness sakes, to the Smithsonian. They were confirmed to be lumbar vertebrae, all from the same person. The age of the individual at death should have been between 16 to 17 years old, due to how the transverse recess was fused.
So older than any of the missing children.
The top age would have been about 22. So even then, still not old enough.
Right.
Because the lumbar vertebrae that they found was still unfused. You forget how things like that work with your body. It's like we were talking about the hyoid bone.
Yeah.
When you're younger, it's so flexible and malleable.
Malleable.
And then once you get older, it's not that way anymore. And that's how they solve a lot of strangling cases if they can't determine the age of the person.
Right.
If their hyoid bone was broken or if it was not. Just a little factoid there for you from the medical side. Yeah.
You don't know anything medical.
Oh, no, not at all. No. And he also stated that the vertebrae was not touched by fire.
So it just happened to be, I mean, you think about it, how many places are bodies buried that we just
Well,
don't even know about.
and he had an answer. He said that he thought the bone came from a nearby cemetery in Mount Hope, but couldn't explain why it was taken from there or how it got to the fire site. The bone fragments were returned to George. Their current location is unknown.
Well, if they were determined to not be one of his kids, he might have just
Mhm.
tossed it back out into the yard somewhere.
The investigation and its findings attracted national attention, and the West Virginia legislature held 2 hearings about the case in 1950. Afterwards, the Sodders were told that the case was hopeless and closed at state level, so completely closed.
Oh.
The FBI decided it had jurisdiction as a possible kidnapping, but dropped the case after 2 years with no leads. So, I mean, the FBI worked it. I feel like they probably
did
yeah
the best they could
at that time.
right,
Yeah.
with the evidence that they had, which was
nothing.
nothing. It was
Yep.
just all a confusing mess.
Yep. So with no help from any officials, the Sodders printed off flyers. They put up a billboard offering a $5,000 reward, which was later raised up to $10,000. And that billboard was up until 1989 when Jenny passed away.
Oh.
Her daughter finally decided it was time to bring it down. There was another sighting of the children. A woman named Ida Crutchfield, who ran a hotel, claimed to have seen the children a week after the fire, but she couldn't remember the exact date. She stated the children came in around midnight with 2 men and 2 women, all of who appeared to be of Italian ethnicity. And like with the other woman, when she tried to talk to the children, one of the men looked at her like he wanted to kill her.
Oh.
Yeah. And she stopped talking, and they all began talking Italian rapidly. And then everybody else just stopped talking and they left.
Oh, creepy.
Investigators didn't find her story credible, as she had seen pictures of the kids 2 years after the fire, but she waited 5 years to come forward.
What?
Why would you wait 5 years?
I wouldn't find her credible either.
Well, no, of course not.
Was
No.
she Italian?
No.
Because I thought maybe she's just, or maybe she was afraid because of the way that guy looked at her that he would find out she told and come after her.
It's a little menacing.
A little.
A woman in St. Louis, Missouri claimed Martha was being held in a convent.
Good place for her, I guess.
So this is where we're getting to something that kind of baffles me. So, a bar patron in Texas claimed to overhear 2 people making incriminating statements about a fire in West Virginia. None of them are proved significant. George then later heard that a relative of Jenny's in Florida, now remember we had seen a Florida license plate, had kids that looked exactly like his.
5 kids?
5. The relative had to prove the children were his own until George was satisfied.
And how did they prove?
See, it didn't say. I don't think they were running like DNA.
No, they wouldn't have had that.
No, so I don't know. In 1967, George went to Houston following another tip.
So another Texas lead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A woman had written a letter to the family saying that Lewis revealed himself and the true identity after having too much to drink. She believed that both he and Maurice were both living in Texas. George and his son-in-law Grover were unable to talk to her, and police were unable to locate the 2 men, but it was not them. Paxton said that doubts lingered for years, and it drove George crazy. So this is the part I want your guys' help with, because this fucks with my head.
Okay.
So another letter was received a year later that is believed to be the most credible evidence that at least Lewis was alive. Jenny received a letter addressed to her from Central City, Kentucky.
Okay.
No return address. Inside was a picture of a young man around the age of 30, and he strongly resembled Lewis. On the back of the photo was written as follows: Lewis Sodder, I love brother Frankie, LLIL boys A90132 or A90135. The family hired a PI to go to Kentucky. He never reported back to the Sodders, and he was never seen again.
Whoa.
That picture was then added to the billboard. And that's kind of where George stopped. He had had enough. He said, we can't go any further. He felt like he was hitting a wall. He said, time is running out for us, but we still need to know what happened to our children. Yeah, so these numbers, guys, help me. What is LLIL, boys, or these other numbers? Now, I have thoughts that I have looked up, and I will share them with you.
Okay.
But let me finish here. George passed away in 1969.
A year basically after he gave up.
Yeah. Jenny and her surviving children continued to search for answers regarding the children. Jenny stayed in the family home and wore black for the rest of her life as she tended to her garden at the site of the fire. And after her death in 1989, the family took down the billboards.
So did they rebuild on the same property, but use the site as the garden?
Yes. Yep. The Sodder children, joined by their children, continued publicizing the case in Leeds, and along with older Fayetteville residents, theorized that they think the Sicilian mafia was trying to extort money from George, and the children were taken by someone who planned the arson. There's also belief that the children were taken back to Italy. The family believes that if the children are still alive, they are not making contact to keep the living children and grandchildren safe.
I mean, there's also the possibility that they don't even know who they are anymore.
Well, exactly. Sylvia, who was the youngest of the siblings, died in 2021. She was in the house the night of fire, and she says it was her earliest memory. She stated she remembers staying up often with her father and talking about that night. She still believed at her dying day that her siblings survived. Sydney's daughter in 2006 said that she promised her mom that she would not let the family or the story die. On the 60th anniversary in 2005, 60 years.
In 2005.
With no answers. NPR did a segment. Believed the children's death in the fire is most likely what happened. It stated that the fire smoldered all night after the house collapsed, and that 2 hours was just not enough for the search. History Channel also aired an episode about the tragedy in 2022.
Oh my gosh.
So just some random factoids, because I love facts.
What?
Yeah. So the children ages at the time of the fire: Maurice was 14, Martha was 12, Louis was 10, Jenny was 8, and Betty was 5. Wow. The 4 children that survived, Marion was 17, John escaped with his brother Joe. He was 23. Joe is said to be between 18 to 21. George Jr. was 16, and Sylvia was 2.
Which one was in the military?
Joe.
Okay.
So back to these stupid freaking numbers.
So is that like a military?
Well, if we break it down, let me flip my, hold on, I gotta find the right color of highlighter here.
There's a lot of notes.
Okay, here we go. Just some questions. Okay, yeah. So the LLIL, some ideas is that it could be a zip code. Some researchers have noted that IL itself is the abbreviation for Illinois, and it could point to a specific region or neighborhood in Chicago, such as Cicero, which has a heavily Italian descent.
Okay.
It could be Italian dialect, a broken or misspelled attempt at an Italian phrase or nickname. or just little boys, which is just a poorly written name or phrase.
Oh.
The I Love Brother Frankie is a little more weird. There's no Frankie in the immediate Sodder family.
So it could be whoever his supposed brother
Mhm.
is now.
Yep, because the missing boys were Maurice and Lewis. And you just said it could be an alias. If kidnapped, Lewis could have used Frankie as an alias.
Mm-hmm.
The extended family, the researchers dug into George's side of the family tree and found that there is a Frank in Italy, suggesting that the children could have been sent to live with him in Italy. The numbers, the A91032 or 135, could either be a military or serial draft number. It could be an institutional record number from like an orphanage, immigration documents, a passport number. It could be a postal code or cipher.
So it could have been him trying to give them a clue without anybody else knowing.
And it seems like nobody caught on to the clues at all.
Yeah.
So
Because clearly we're still confused about it, and he hasn't been found.
I think what I took from it, some of my questions were, why were there no screams during the fire? There were no cries for help from anybody.
No, and if the children were actually in there being burned to death,
they would have been screaming and hollering.
Yeah.
I mean, I scream when I get burned by a curling iron.
Yeah. So there's no way in my mind that those children were still in there.
I don't think so either.
Like they had to be taken
before.
Long before.
You know, there's no skeletal remains. There was no smell of burning flesh. There were no bones left. You know,
there was a beef liver in a metal box.
Yeah. My personal opinion was that I think the children were probably kidnapped before the fire, and they were either separated and sent to different parts of the country and some back to Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Because you would think by now somebody would say something.
By now somebody. Yeah, they had to have been split up.
I mean, at this point, both your parents are dead. Your siblings are dead.
And who gives a fuck about Mussolini anymore?
Dude's dead.
Like,
yeah. I know.
It makes me feel like at this point that they are all probably dead by now. Especially,
I think so too.
Especially since Sylvia is gone now. And how old was Sylvia when she died? Did it say?
Well, she was born in 2021. She was 3 at the time. I'm not doing girl math.
And what year did she die? 89?
21.
Oh, Sylvia died in 21.
Girl mathing right
now. I'm calculator mathing.
Well, I mean, she in 1945 to 2021. She was 79 because she was 3.
Yep. Yeah, so she was 79, 80, depending on what month. Wow.
Yeah.
She lived a long life not being able to find her siblings.
And Sylvia kind of became the face of the whole investigation. She worked with the most private investigators. She even had a website that she maintained for her siblings that stated, you know, come home, you're safe, we'll keep you safe, we love you, we miss you. She attended interviews. I mean, she really wanted she wanted her family's memories to live on.
Well, yeah.
And of course, you don't know where your siblings are. I'm an only child, but I can't imagine what I do without my friends.
I thought I was your sister.
You are my sister.
From another mister. I know.
But yeah, the story just really struck with me. There were so many indiscrepancies and so much. What's the word I'm looking for?
I mean, even if you only had one sibling that you have no idea where they went, and you're 80 years old and you die and you still don't know. Even one would be hard, but 5 missing children.
With no clues.
And there's no way that they were in that house when it burnt down.
No. Mm-mm.
They were all old enough to have run out of that room.
Right, and Jenny had grabbed Sylvia, who was the youngest, so she was okay.
Right.
But like you said, the others were old enough to know, oh my gosh, there's a fire, let's go. I mean, stop, drop, and roll, people. Come on.
Did it anything say, like, did they share a bedroom?
The older ones shared the attic.
Okay.
So they were able to get out of the attic. And I think the only reason they got out was because Jenny smelled the smoke as early as she did.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the fire, in my head at least, was contained in George's office for some time. And that's how she smelled the smoke and everyone got out.
If they later said that the fire started on the roof, you'd also think that the children who stayed in the attic,
There's that.
so many confusing details.
Oh, it's just unanswered question after unanswered question. And the more you dig in deep, the more you go, what? I mean, what?
This is even more confusing than Brandon somehow.
Okay, so when do we leave for West Virginia? Road trip.
Road trip. Well, I did actually have a customer yesterday
Yeah.
offer to be the driver if we want to go for Jody, who's in troop.
Because I mean, we are doing.
Yes, we obviously will do one on her. She's not local, but might as well be.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah, and our next case.
Our next one, we won't tell you what it is, but it's old and current.
There are not enough flames for the person involved.
No.
He should have burned in that fire.
He definitely should have. So let's do our Trash Panda ratings on today. So for my mini creeper, I'm going to give it a 3.
Okay.
But if somehow the ghost is real, I'm gonna give it a 5 as far as the mother supposedly seeing that head twist around.
Why am I picturing us going and getting a Ouija board and trying to contact the dead spirit?
Do you remember me telling you about the time we were using?
Yes.
We didn't know each other yet, but we had the Ouija board out and we had candles on the table, and one of the candles was literally done.
Yep.
Like the wick was gone, there was no wax left, and it was one of those little tea lights in the tin.
Okay.
And I just remember asking the Ouija board to show us a sign. And all of a sudden, that empty one that was not lit anymore because there was nothing left, it literally just flamed up.
I love it.
And I would believe that I imagined it.
Except
that table still has a bubble on it from the heat.
Whoa!
So that was one of those things that kind of made me think the Ouija board might sometimes work, at least. Whether you believe in it or not.
I'm thinking we go buy a Ouija board. I'm down.
Well, and based on our stories today, all of that stuff was really believed in the 1890s. And who's to say it would have not been believed just 50 years later,
yeah, exactly.
when our main topic was.
Watch my mom pop through and be like, no, you're just going to talk to me. Because that's what that horror is.
Your mom absolutely would try to take over.
She would.
We wouldn't be able to talk to anybody we actually want to.
Not at all.
And for those of you listening to us here talking about the Ouija board, if you've ever watched movies or anything about it, whether you believe it or not, it is very important to sign off properly.
Do it correctly, please, people. Come on, we don't need open portals.
No, because, again, whether you believe it or not, if there's even the slightest chance that it is real, you want to say goodbye to those fuckers.
Yeah, let's say goodbye to them.
Let's not leave the hole open for them to come through. So, if we could give a 10 on the Sodder children, I would, because there's so much contradictory information.
So much lack of correct. And
Right.
again, I have utmost respect for law enforcement and firemen. But
Today,
come on, do your fucking jobs. And how does a chief not know how to drive a fire truck?
yeah, if you happen to live somewhere where your fire chief doesn't know how to drive the fire truck,
You should move.
or find some way to get rid of that guy.
That, or go to school and become a fireman and then become the chief and be like, I know how to drive a fire truck.
Yeah. So what's your panda rating?
For Sodders?
For the Sodders?
95.
95.
No, it's a 5.
A 95 out of 5.
It's 5. And I'm giving Kendall and her Popeye biscuit a 3 just because it just makes me giggle.
I feel like we're gonna have to come up with a dishonorable scale.
Yeah.
We'll have to have a chat with Roxy and Gideon about that.
She needs to be on the chicken nugget board because that's chicken nugget.
Chicken nugget?
Chicken nugget. Yeah. Oh, chicken nuggets, biscuits.
And part of the reason that we don't do any editing on this is because our flubs,
yeah, but you know
are us.
You know what's even funnier?
What?
Is Dylan is convinced. When I say this, he is 100% convinced that there is some random story behind the chicken nugget when there really isn't.
But it somehow is all connected.
And that's what she's trying to tell him.
The story is that everything is connected, even when it has nothing to do with anything.
So if you ever see Dylan Danino, ask him for a chicken nugget.
Ask him for a chicken, but only a half-eaten chicken nugget. It's got to be a half-eaten one.
Half-eaten.
So I think overall today, our entire story is a 4.
Gotta be. Yeah, I think so.
A 4.
I agree.
For the whole episode, yep. We are at a Trash Panda 4 rating. And I think we're going to end it there today. We're an hour and 20 minutes in.
We're good.
Yeah, this was a long good story. So we're going to sign off. So we will see you next Tuesday. Stay trashy, fuckers.